So now we're going to do here, and I already masked off. You can see the masking fluid in that pattern. You see that light pattern. So I already did that, and we're going to use some burnt umber for this as well as the tree trunks. So now I'm just going to get the burnt umber and just go through it and make like a really dark, pattern behind it, and then the dark pattern will be the background. So you can see the masking fluid kind of stopping me from painting over some of this. So you can't really go dark to light. You can only go light to dark unless you do gouache or something. I don't really have any gouache. It's decent. My gouache is like the worst one from this art company, so it's like whatever. Anyway, so now we're going to do it, and then later we'll come back and remove the masking fluid, and that will give us this beautiful pattern that we have right here. So pretty easy. Go in and paint where we can. So you can see the pattern. You can see the masking fluid kind of stopping me from painting there. So a little more water. And we'll cover this area. And then afterwards we'll move on to the dress. Go a little bit more. We're just sort of slathering this on. So that's cool how the masking fluid works. So now we're going to get this light, beautiful pattern just the way we want it. There we go. It looks perfect. Okay, I'll go over with another layer, and then we'll move on to the dress. So I mixed together some blue with a little bit of yellow, and what it gave me was this color right here. And this is sort of a grayish blue, and I think that matches what's going to be on her sleeve. So now we're basically, so the dress is basically just a lot of lines added to the dress. I mean, there's not a lot of shading or anything like that. So we're just going to go through and just sort of try to duplicate what we see basically. So I know we want to outline here around the hand, and so we're going to get that outline like that. And again, this is a watery mixture with that sort of that bluish gray. So we already kind of messed up a little bit. It should have been maybe over here, but that's okay. We'll go with the flow. So now we got like a line here, and then another line there, and then another line here, etc. So then the lines sort of go downward. You know what I'm saying? They go downward a little bit. So as we come across to here, we got a smaller line and a smaller line and a smaller line, like that. And so now we have shading in between that, but for lines I think that looks okay. So we're going to get a little bit bigger of a brush, and now we're going to come in and shade it. So we're going to get a super watery version of that bluish black that we just made. Again, this is really watery. So we're just going to go in through here and just sort of make sort of make that adjustment here as we go. So we have a little bit of the shade here, and then as we go up, it sort of comes up a little bit and it goes in between these lines, sort of like that. So the lines aren't as hard, they're just in between them, is just sort of shady. And then we have a little shade sort of coming up like that. So there we go. And then obviously we need to blend it. So we're going to get clean that brush off and make it damp and just sort of get the edges to where they're not as prominent. So we just have that, a little bit of the edge masking there. There we go. So just like that. And it looks pretty good. So basically I just reproduced that over here, and I think it looks fairly good. Obviously we need a bit of the watery shading like up here where you see in the picture and whatnot. So, and then some of that up there maybe. And then obviously around here, make that a little less harsh. So basically we're just going to do that. So I mean up under here, again we have some of that shade as well. And then as we come up to that side there, we have a little bit of that bluish color coming down through here. So we have that, it just sort of makes this tick mark pattern as it comes down, you know what I'm saying? And then we have that prominent line that's coming up across through there, like here into there. So there's that line. It looks pretty good. A little more shade as we come down, and we'll get some of that there. So it looks pretty good. Be careful with that red. You don't want to bring a lot of it over there. And then again, so we're just looking at the lines that are on the screen and just reproducing them within this. So it doesn't look that good yet, but give it a little time once you get it sort of in context with the rest of it. So let's sort of zoom out and see what we are looking at. So basically, yeah, we just did the hand there. So the hand or the arm, that looks fairly good. All right, we'll continue on with the dress. Alright, let's take a break from the dress. I think we got a lot of good lines in. And now that this is dry, let's run our finger over it and remove that masking fluid and see what we come up with. So that looks exactly like what I wanted, which is good. So now all we need to do is fill in the middle of those circles. So again, here's what we are comparing to. So we just need to fill in the middle of those circles with some brown. So I will dip into here and get some of that deep, dark, burnt umber that we had earlier. And then come in here and just make the circle. So you have sort of that pattern that she has on her dress. And like that. So we'll just continue on and do all of these and then go back to the dress. So the next step on the dress will be to put in the flowers and then put in the greenery. So we're going to use our red that we had before. We had a variety of reds, but we're going to do the alizarin crimson pure, or alizarin crimson, whatever. So the alizarin crimson is going to be our key to getting those flowers. I do have a rose color somewhere. Maybe I'll go fetch that and see how that looks. But as you can see, this pattern, once it's filled in, the pattern looks pretty good compared to that. So let me finish this, go get my rose, and let's make some flowers on her dress. Alright, so that's what it looks like. I think it looks quite well. Let's go up here and do some of the flowers. So I picked up rose, Q rose. We'll just say with that, Q rose. So we're going to come in here with Q rose, a big thick dollop of this stuff, and we're going to make the first flower, which is going to be right here. So that is going to be our first flower. It's not that prominent in the picture, but in my version it will be. So here we'll make another one. So the rose is not like a solid blob. It's a series of dots, and that's what we're going to do here, is make a series of dots. So I have like that rose. There we go. And then over here we have another one. And so that is going to be right here. And right here it's getting cut off. So it has a straight line and then sort of this dot pattern coming up there. Alright, that's perfect. And then down here again we have one that's sort of cut off with a straight line. And then it has some dot patterns as well. So that is going to be our flowers. That's a little bit more prominent than I was expecting, but sure, why not? Because we want to go over here too. We got one. A little dots. Like that. So that's pretty cool. Alright, so now we're going to move this over and do more roses. And let's see. I got a video game stream going in the background in case you're wondering, who is that talking? That's not me, I swear. Alright, so talking to myself. Actually, that's the definition of making YouTube videos, talking to yourself, right? Well, unless you're live, obviously. But okay, got that. Down here, we have a larger one. So we're going to get that and just simulate sort of the petal pattern that we have in there. So we are much bigger than the card, obviously. So, alright, so it looks pretty good. And then below that we have one as well. Here, so we have one down here, and let's see, that one, and then this one. So this one is fairly large. Like that. There we go. Perfect. Alright, cool. And then we have some over here. So this one's pretty big. This one's just straight up round and pretty big. And again, we don't want to make it just all one solid shape. You want to make sure it gets some dots in there. Make it look pretty. Okay. And then come over here and finally come up there and make this pretty rose up here. So this is a powerful color. It's going to come right over our blue. No problem whatsoever. Alright, and then we have one that's going to be right here, and that one comes up a little bit like that. So now we're going to go back and do the greens. They're going to be underneath the roses. So let's get a light pretty green and come back with that. Okay, so now we have permanent green, which is a really pretty green. We're going to just come under the rose a little bit with it. And then here as well, get this pretty green, come underneath there, and then have it sort of come down here like a stem. And here it's sort of cut off, and then here it's sort of cut off as well. But that is our pretty green, and then we're going to come up here with that as well, and make that like right about there. So we're just going to continue on with this. Put in our permanent green there. Have that come down a little bit, sort of like a rose, a little stem, you know, sort of a rose stem kind of thing. Like that. This looks good. Then come back with our pretty green over here, and I don't really see it, but yeah. So I do want the pretty green in all sorts of different places, so we're probably going to overdo it, but that's okay. It's okay to overdo it sometimes. Like I want it to come like around here, for example, around there, and then form this pattern that's underneath here, like that. And this is going to be a solid shape, no problem. So we want to kind of avoid the the red as much as we can, and we get some of the pretty green up here too, like right around there. That'd be really nice. All right, and get a little more of the green, and just sort of stipple it just around here, maybe a little bit, like that. And yeah, come down here, and then maybe have a little pretty green there too as well. I like it. It looks nice. Then we just sort of mix in a little bit, not a ton, but just a little bit here and there. And then we have that up there, and that's going to sort of come down through there. Okay, so it looks pretty good. Then a little more of that green there. All right, cool. And then put a little bit of the pretty green sort of just in here, just sort of have it just here and there. Not everywhere, but just here and there. Like that. Alright, cool. Again, just to sort of decorate a little bit. Like that. Okay, so let's zoom out and see what we have. So here is her dress. Now I think that needs more stuff in it. I think it has too big of a gap in some places. But we'll add that, and then we'll come back after that's done. Okay, so I cleaned it up a little bit. Basically, I just came in here with a barely damp brush and just sort of massage some of these things to make it like that. So that sort of fills in, so it's not like all white. I mean, does that make sense? It's not white, but it's not another color either. So just filling in the gaps where it's just too much white, basically is what I did. And then now we need to come up, and underneath her collar here we need to make a shadow, so you have a little more prominent of a shadow underneath the collar to make it look good. So we're just going to get the blue again and get it fairly thick here, and just come in here under the collar and get her some shadow. It's a bit too wet, a bit too much, like that. There we go. So just come in like that and give her some shadow underneath there. There we go. So that looks better. It looks a little more realistic. There we go. Like that. Okay, cool. I'm going to clean that up, and then we will come back and continue on with the dress. Alright, so let's take a break, and here's what we have so far. I like it. So let's zoom in up here and get the stars. We need to get the stars. So yeah, anytime you do anything around the face, before you put it in pen, you definitely want to use pencil, just in case you completely mess it up. So we have just a colored pencil. This is polychromos. You can tell I've chewed on it quite a bit, startling amount. So we need to get the stars, and let me zoom in. Okay, so I switched to mechanical pencil as well, so we need to make sure we get this correct. It looks like that, and then that, and then like this, like that, and then like this. So it looks kind of like that. So we need to get that again. We need to get it fairly precise with it. So we got this pattern, and then this pattern, and then this pattern, like that. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And then on top we have a bigger star, so keep that in mind. Like that, and then like that. Like this, and then like this. Like that. So that sort of looks correct. I mean, obviously we're not exactly to the to the down to the line kind of thing. But we have that, and we have that, and we have one up here, and that is about the same size. So like this, and then like that. Like that. Okay, well, cool. Alright, and again, I want to say it doesn't have to be exact, but it needs to be pretty close. It needs to be fairly close. As far as sizing and everything else is concerned, it needs to be fairly close. So, again, here we go, like that, then like this, and then like that. Okay, so, I mean, that looks okay. This and like that, like here, like there. Okay, and this one looks a bit larger than the rest. So like that. I think I'm getting the hang of it. Okay, cool. And the last one looks really large. We're not going to be shy about the sizing on the last one. There we go, like that. Okay, so sort of, now we need to sort of zoom back here and see, does that look okay? And I think it does. So I'm going to go over in darker pencil, and again, we're still using a darker pencil, and then if that looks okay, then we'll ink it. Here we go. Alright, so it looks good. I brought her hair up a little bit more so it covers that, but overall it looks good. And I think that I put some shadow underneath her chin here so it doesn't look all weird. So let's finish the dress and start on the stream, and then go back to the wheat on the bottom there, and I will return. Okay, somebody will ask, so let's go over what I did here. So you remember that the Terry Harrison? I got some of that, and I mixed just a tad bit of burnt sienna, and I just went over here and made it light, right? This light area. And then when I went around that area with a, like right here, I just stippled it, just sort of touched it like that, and sort of made that pattern. So you have that pattern around there. So you'll see that. So that makes that nice pattern. It looks kind of cool. So that looks like the picture now. So that nice pattern. Just sort of the dots. So that's what I did with that. Then I came in with the darker burnt sienna, and then made the rest of it. So I think that looks actually fantastic. So that's what I did with that area there. So you can see, zoomed out, I think we're really sort of bringing the room together here, as the Big Lebowski would say, right? So let's go to the stream. and then let's start on the bottom section. So the stream is actually just blue. You remember that blue that we came in with earlier for her dress? So basically it's the same thing. So let's see. So we got this nice blue line. And again, this is one of those things to where it's just a line, man. It's just, you know, lines. So we're going to come through here and we're going to go around here. And that's just going to be our line as we sort of come across and down there. We don't want that droplet. No, not the droplet. The droplet is bad. So then we want it to just sort of cruise around there. And then as it hits here, it just suddenly comes down. Just like that. And obviously it's going to get thicker and then go down the bottom. Alright, that looks good. Got a droplet at the bottom. Gotta fix that. You don't want a droplet at the very end. Alright, so now we'll do another line. And this line sort of just comes through, and again it's going to be just this light line. It just sort of comes through there and meets that maybe, and then we have more lines that are sort of coming across through there, and then we're coming through here, and then again we have that drop where it just goes roar, straight down, roar, and then all the way down to the bottom. Alright, cool. And then we need to sort of mix it up a little bit. When I say mix it up, make it not go all the way to the bottom. So we're going to do that by getting a little paper towel or whatever, and then just sort of breaking the line up like that, and then touching it, and then it sort of breaks it up a little bit. So right here, we're going to break it up a little bit, and then there we go. And then here, maybe break this up a lot, like that. And then do that. So we have that little segment there. So then at the top it needs to be darker, as you can see on the picture. Let me get this for you comparison there. So on the top you can see it's darker, and then we have that white up there as well. So at the top we're going to make it dark. So like right there. Come in with a thicker blue. There we go. And then right here. And then sort of right there. And then just sort of gradually come in thicker, and then we want that thickness to come in through here, and we have that as well. There we go. I'm not sure if the droplets help actually once we start getting into here, but I'm going to assume no. So we're going to just ease up on that droplet action there, or blend that out a little bit. There we go. We're painting vertically, so that you have that challenge of the droplets, the challenge droplets, and then we're just sort of fade it a little bit. Does that make sense? So instead just like that, instead of having a definitive line, sort of fade it a little bit, and then we come down through here like that. So it's just not this huge prominent line for no reason. Just soften that up. There we go. So now that looks a little better, and then we'll come back with the blue, and again we'll get that that thicker line as we sort of come down through here. That thicker, more prominent line as we come down through there. Oops, need a little more water, huh? That thicker, more prominent line as we sort of come down through here. Like that. Alright, so that looks pretty good. Just need maybe a little more smidge of action through here. Like that. And then again we're going to blend it out. So we washed out the brush and we're just barely have any water on it. Sort of touching this. Blending it out, so just not this line there for no reason kind of thing, right? Just that, bring that down like that. There we go. And again, just blend that so it's not just obnoxious. So blend that as well, and then there we go. Should be good. Have that definitive thing going there. So it looks pretty good. Doesn't look as amazing as I wanted it, but sure, why not? Looks good enough. So let's discuss the wheat. It needs to vary. Variance is your friend because you see it doesn't go all the same wheat all in a row. It's varied and different. So you have different colors, you have different shades of the lines, you know, different types of lines, you have different types of heads on the wheat, different types, etc., etc. So basically, variance is your friend. So I came in here with the usual sunlit gold, and I added a bit of the quinacridone gold. So some are quinacridone gold, some are sunlit gold, in other words yellow. Some have nothing. So we're going to go through here, and some will be ink with the micron pen, and then others will just be pencil, and then sometimes we won't have a line at all. So let's time compress this and get through it. So there is the wheat, and I hope you like it. It's basically, again, just a random pattern, and I think it fits sort of the random pattern that we have in the original reference. So, you know, it's just nice and random wheat and whatnot, and I think it looks pretty good. So now we're just going to do this and this offline, finish the bottom of her dress, and we are finished. I will see you then. So we are now finished. Here is the final product. I'm not great with faces, so you're going to have to deal with it. That is the bottom section, and then that is the very bottom section. So this looks pretty good. I think that that looks very good. Cushion looks great. I think the dress looks great. Looks very much like the picture. And waterfall, trees, and everything. So overall, I'm pretty happy with it. Took me about 6 hours, about 5.5 or 6 hours total. So hopefully you like it. Oops, I need to detail that hand and that hand. I'll do that in a minute. But anyway, but that's, I mean, pretty much 95% done here. So that is it. Thank you for watching this tutorial. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, and feel free to make your own Empress. Thanks for watching.